So take a moment. Everybody mute yourselves, please. If you're not muted, make sure you are. Thank you so much. And just take time to breathe. Get present to where the air passes through your nostrils into your lungs. As you release the breath, get present to the breath leaving your body. As your chest rises and falls, or your belly increases and decreases depending upon where you breathe from. Be aware of the spaciousness within your mind. Be aware of the spaciousness in your heart. Be aware of the space that your body consumes. And then be aware of the space just outside of your body temple. And get fully and completely present to all manners of space. And think to yourself, I love and accept myself as I am and as I am not. I love and accept my body temple as it is not. I love and accept my mind for how it functions and how it does not. I love and accept my life expression in its totality and as it is not. I love my thinking and my creativity as it is not. I love the way I love as I do and as I do not. I love and accept myself completely as I am, as I am not. Breathe into this thought. Accept it. Ponder it. Allow it. Thank you, Spirit, for this. And so it is.
Return once again to Rev Michelle talk.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. So many of you we have spoken about. I spoke to you about the acquisition of the home that we're living in many months back, and the miracle of how everything came together so perfectly. And now it is many, many months later, and we're still enjoying the miracle. And that's a little bit code, but you'll get it in a little bit. So today I'm kind of excited because, well, first of all, we're breaking from the theme that we've been doing out of the textbook. And because I wanted to bring you a live lesson. And if Science of Mind is nothing else, it should be a live lesson. It should be that which we can apply at every moment in our lives. And if in the middle of your life, if you are not in application of looking for and identifying the miraculous, looking for and identifying the things to be grateful for, looking for and identifying the spiritual principles, then we're not teaching you properly. Then we're not, because of every moment of every day. If you choose to get mindful, there should be something right there, right in front of you, that you can qualify and take note of as something that is for you. So there's probably more, but I identified for today's lesson 10 things that I've learned and opportunities that have come to me since doing the construction, which you see behind me, and the window that's still not in, and the hood that doesn't have a stove under it. So the number one thing on my list, the first, not the number one like the most important, but the easiest thing for me to initially identify is patience. I have learned patience in a way, now not that I'm always feeling patient. I'm not. There's sometimes I'm grouchy. There are moments where I am grouchy. But overall, I've had to learn patience. Patience with myself, patience with process, patience with, I'll say men in this instance, because there is no women involved in this particular part of the process, and I'm referring to the construction and the general, well, there was one woman actually, but she's no longer involved. But patience which kind of paved the way for me to consistently handle the day-to-day lessons, the day-to-day activity. Number 2, kindness. On 100 different occasions, maybe more, I have opted to practice kindness as opposed to getting what I want, as opposed to pointing out how something was not right. I had to decide and wanted to decide that at the end of the day and at the end of this project, what mattered to me more than communicating limitation, communicating how something wasn't going right, what mattered to me more was how I treated the people involved. And there was one day, the gentleman who did some beautiful tile and trim work in my home, an absolute master. He was providing an incredible service. And he got a little upset with me because I had spoken to his boss about something. And I guess his boss called him out. Now, that wasn't my intention when this happened. And this gentleman was kind of annoyed with me and didn't have any problem with letting me know the next morning. And what happened was he let me know, and I said, well, that's not what I did, and that wasn't the purpose. And I could feel myself get quite defensive. And I walked in the house, and I'm like, oh, well, who cares? And forget about him. And then I thought, forget about him? Why would I say that? Why would I not care for this individual, this human, as much as I would care for Brian or Amy or Joe Christiana? Why would I treat him with less kindness and respect than anyone that I love? And I thought to myself, oh, get over yourself, Michelle. And I walked outside and I looked at him and I said, I want you to know, I said, I need to talk to you, please. I want you to know that was not my intention to get you in trouble. That really wasn't what I was doing. And he was kind of still mumbling under his breath, looking down a little bit. I said, please look at me for a second. And he did. I said, I want you to know I apologize. That was not my intent, and I really want you to hear that. And he looked at me, he goes, I accept your apology. And so that left clean. Now, I will probably not have an ongoing relationship with this person. The just kind of his being isn't somebody that I attract into my life, but that not for 1 second means that I should treat him less than I would treat somebody I love and care for, ever. Right? We are one human family. And I wanted to make sure at the end of that day, I treated my brother, because he's my brother. You are my brothers and you are my sisters. And I wanted to treat my brother with the level of kindness and respect that he deserved. So that was a major lesson for me during all this. The third is the joy, the fun, the frustration sometimes of co-creating. So I've been co-creating with the support of numerous people. Marilyn Sarnowski was definitely one of them. God knows that she has saved me from making some major mistakes. So that was a joyful experience, because I'm not the decorator. I don't have that talent and skill. I know certain things I like, but I don't have that talent and skill. So God bless her. Co-creating with Neil. And how we learned to communicate. Like the other night, we were picking out hardware for our cabinets, and we had 2 boards of samples, hardware samples. And what I liked was on one board, what he liked was on the other board. Now that's where the process started. So we brought the boards upstairs and we started talking. And within about 15 minutes, in this very gentle way, we collaborated. We collaborated, co-created, and found an answer that we both collectively felt good about. And on the outset, when it started, I have to tell you, I was a little nervous. I was a little nervous that we were not going to agree, because I came at that conversation kind of wanting what I wanted a little bit. So part of the co-creative process is to surrender the ego and to surrender the personal attachment. And so at the end of that little bit of time, we both were happy. We both felt good. And when you come to my house, you'll be able to look at my hardware and say, oh, that's what they collaborated on, along with many, many other things. So co-creation. And that also had to happen with the GC, the general contractor, because he had involvement and influence here, so I had to make sure I worked with him also. Number 4, vision. I had to begin this project, and Neil and I had to begin the project with the end in mind. Just like Stephen Covey from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People taught us many years ago in that book. To begin a project with the end in mind. It's the same thing when you practice, when you are using spiritual mind treatment, either with yourself or a practitioner. You begin with the end result in mind before you start to treat, because you have to know the direction you're going in. So having a vision, feeling good about that vision, and trusting its unfolding. Number 5, decision making. Learning to trust myself and to trust Neil and to figure it out together, not unlike the co-creation. But if you have never been under construction of this magnitude, you might not know the hundreds upon hundreds of decisions. From shapes to colors to the shapes, colors, hardware, paint colors, lighting, where to place the lighting, fans, what kind of fans, where to place them. I mean, hundreds of decision making. And on the outset of the beginning of this project, the very thought of making all those decisions completely overwhelmed me, completely. I didn't look at it with an anticipation that it would be easy or that it would be fun. However, as we went on, I learned, I can do this. And if I don't make a decision, if it's a choice between A and B and I'm stuck, then I'm not ready to make the decision. That, I think very often in life, we think we have to make certain decisions and we have to make them within a certain timeline. But the truth is, if you don't make it, you're not ready to make it. So you wait for the readiness. That was a big lesson, and to trust the process. And I feel like I got kind of good at it. It came easy. Number 6. This is not a lesson I would have expected to share with you in the middle of this conversation. But understanding a greater idea of privilege. Now, I'm not referring specifically right now to white privilege, but being white, it will be translated that way. I'm referring to even the privilege that I have to be complaining. You get that? The privilege that I have to even talk about this. There are people fleeing for their lives in Afghanistan, and I'm worried about hardware. You get that juxtaposition? So, I could feel a little emotional about that. It is absolutely critically important that I remind myself of how grateful, abundant, and privileged I am, and not compared to other people. I mean, other people might have much more than I do, but to just get what that is. I have a friend that I'm treating with at this time, and this friend is dealing with a very serious health issue. And when we pray together, sometimes her prayers are so deep and meaningful, and her life depends upon it. And there are times that after I'm done listening to her, what could I possibly ask for that matters? And so it's learning how to be grounded in the middle of that, because someone's joy shouldn't diminish someone else's. Someone's neediness shouldn't diminish someone's abundance, right? We don't want to dull our light in order to make room for others, but to be aware of that, what the source of the light is, so that I can go back to being grounded and stand in that middle place of beauty and source. Am I clear about that? That was a bit of an ouch, but a good lesson. The joy of creativity. It's been fun. It's been fun to create. Probably the most fun we ever had. We had to buy some furniture, and the most fun we had was doing that. But the joy. So I'm talking about the decision making, but the joy of that. There was a joy in being creative, and a joy in figuring this out and having the conversations. I said to Neil the other day, I have no idea what we're going to talk about once the house is done, because every day all the conversations are around having the home be done. But there was joy in that, and I bet that there are times you're in the middle of figuring out things for your life. And if you're not thinking that the ability to make a decision, the beauty of having the ability, or having just the opportunity, that's the word I was looking for, the opportunity to make decisions, if that's not joyful for you, it's because you're not paying attention. Every one of you, every single one of you, you have to make a decision to do what you do at every day of if you decide to go to work when you're tired and you don't want to go to work, but you go to work anyway, the joy of the power of making that decision, all of it is empowering. Number 8, watching my mind, which is what I'm sharing with you. Watch my mind. Do you watch your mind? Are you paying attention to where your mind goes and what you focus on, and what judgments come up, what criticisms come up? What messages about the self are you entertaining that might keep you limited? And because this relates to number 9, feeling worthy. When we were, now I don't have any of my appliances in yet. They're sitting in a warehouse somewhere. When we were choosing kitchen appliances, I was doing what I had always done. I was looking at the things that would cost the least. They would function, they were new, but never in my mind did I consider that I would have the opportunity to actually buy something that I actually felt good about. So I had to watch my mind and my sense of being worthy. And I know some of you know what I'm talking about. Some of you do not allow yourself to see yourself as always worthy, as deserving of good and greater good. And as I watched my mind, and I remember, Neil encouraging me. He's had more experience with abundance and success in his life. I didn't have that experience. And Neil would say, no, get what you want. We're going to have this forever. Get what you want. Get something that you feel good about. And it was this, you ever know that breath? When something doesn't seem real, it was like I had to take that breath to expand, not only expand the breath of that was entering my chest, but that physical experience, I had to stretch my mind. Neil wasn't with me on the day that I went to investigate or went to look at the appliances. It was during the day, and it was the only appointment I could get. So Bill came with me, Bill Sarnowski, and I remember looking at him and just having this feeling like, oh my God, is this real? Is this really happening? Am I really getting this incredible stuff? Now, for some people, if you're somebody and you are blessed with thermidors and sub-zeros, you're going to come and look at my stuff and go, But my experience is I'm getting something beautiful and being able to feel and be in touch with that I'm worthy of that. What a great thing. What a great thing. So the last thing, my GC is a Jersey guy, born and raised, Jersey boy, lives not too far from us. And for a long time, whether you think if you think I edit myself, or maybe you don't think I edit myself, trust me when I tell you, I edit what comes out of this mouth. Because for me, being a minister doesn't mean that I can't be human, and you know that about me. It does mean I'm going to practice kindness and discretion and all that stuff. But during COVID, I've had an opportunity, I'm not so sure why this is, but being having less access to you, into our community, I've kind of retreated a little bit, not retreat like to pull back or pull away, but into kind of me being the Jersey girl that I kind of play with in my branding. And so this gentleman, his name is Bob, we've come to play with each other in that, he'll sometimes just say things pretty straightforward, and then sometimes I say things that are fairly straightforward. And the other day, he has a lot of pressure on him for all his reasons, his business reasons. And the other day when talking to me, he said something to me that was a little rough. It was a little rough. And I'm telling you, and I promise this is true, not for 1 second did I take it personally. It was so clear, I did not allow it to land. I didn't even pick up his aggression. Didn't even pick it up to entertain it, not for a second. And it was a beautiful thing to see. And I let go of it immediately. And I could tell A few minutes later, he must have been feeling bad because he called me back to talk to me again, and his whole demeanor was much softer. Now, his demeanor would not have been softer if I had gone on the attack. It wouldn't have been softer if I picked it up and read him the riot act and would have been like, oh, well, how are you talking to me that way? Mm-mm. I just left it. And he knew that his tone wasn't gentle. So learning not to take things personally leads to me not feeling badly about myself, me not having ideas about myself of less than. And I know that we can all benefit from the basic 4 agreements all the time. We can absolutely benefit from it because too often, especially in the world today, all the conversations around COVID, I will be so happy when no one ever speaks that word again. I will be so happy when we never again talk about who's vaccinated, who's not vaccinated, what kind of vaccinations you've gotten. I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, but it's just like, I just want to be in life, right? And so some people even take conversations like that very personally and go on the attack. I hope for us that we stop going on the attack and we respect each person's decision, no matter what it is. And we love and honor each person as they are, whatever they're doing in their life. It's what they're going to do for themselves. And you don't have to live with it. So by really being in the practice of not taking anything personally, I felt so clean. I felt so clean and left that conversation in a beautiful way. So here are my 10 lessons in a nutshell. Patience, kindness, co-creation, vision, decision-making, understanding privilege, the joy of creativity, watching my mind, feeling worthy, and not taking things personally. And I say to you again, at every moment in your life, right now, wherever you're sitting, you have an opportunity in every moment to make a decision, to think about something, to be grateful for something, to be the presence of love or not, every moment of every day. None of you are so sequestered that you don't impact others in the way you behave, even if it's the way you treat yourself. So I hope for you today, in the close of this time, our time together here, that you draw lessons from your life, from your living room, from your work, from your chair, that are lessons that lift you, love you, enlighten you, and that blesses the world around you because of the way you are being. That's my wish for you. Let's close this with a treatment. So what I know right now, that there is a power, a presence, a love, a glory. A glory is it's the glory of the creation of life. That glory, that beauty, that sacredness is always happening in, through, and as each and every one of us listening. Each and every one of us. Let us each embrace the lessons of life, the strength and the power that comes with being in the beingness of life. Let us each rise up and embrace possibility. Let us know that we are capable, worthy of all this good. And let us share from this good. Let us remember to lift our brothers and sisters, those we know and those we don't know. Let's be the representative of love, truth, wholeness, and acceptance now and always. I am so blessed. And I know for each one of us that we feel the blessing of life itself. And so it is.
And so it is. Reverend Michelle, we had a question come in. Do you want to take a question?
Sure. That's fun.
All right. This is from Gade.
Oh, okay. Hi, Gade.
His question is it possible to achieve the end goal that we have in mind without taking part in the process? If not, is co-creation a means to an end? Either way, is it necessary to take part in co-creation?
Okay, I'm gonna look at your. That's a big question. Did that only go to you, Neil?
It did.
Okay, so just repeat it to me a little bit more, one more time, I mean.
I will, as a matter of, you know what I'll do is I will put it out there for everyone to read.
Oh, that'd be great. God, I feel like you're testing me, Gade. I'm teasing. Is it possible to achieve the end goal we have in mind without taking part in the process? Well, let me, I'm going to break it up into pieces, okay? So, it depends upon what you think of as the process. Because our part is to desire. It's not to create. And I used to think that sounded like those hallmark answers that people would give. But here's what I have learned. Here's what I've learned absolutely. In order to accept and allow the outcome of my desired outcome, I have to get out of the way. Just like you and I are not responsible for the beating of our heart. If any one of us decided we were going to, make our heart beat, we would be screwed. Our breath, the beating of our heart, life working around us, we don't have any part of that. So our job is to express our desire passionately, so that that which does create, creates through us. So we're part of the process by allowing. We're part of the process by even being willing to, now some of you might object to this word, by some of you being willing to want. And because want, we talk about that, we're always wanting something outside of ourselves. So I understand that. But in having a desire, to be willing to have that desire and to feel worthy of that desire, so that spirit can then come in and then fulfill it. Does that make sense? Okay. So, if not, is co-creation a means to... co-create... Is it a means? I guess so. I guess it's a means. I just never thought of it in that language. When there is a sacred part of the co-creation process, even in the normal day-to-day life, there's a sacred aspect to it. When we allow ourselves to have a vision of what's possible, and when we feel that worthiness, when we allow the vision and have a sense of worthiness, it actually becomes sacred. Because you are in a dance with the divine. And so co-creation is always happening if you are walking in right relationship with spirit, with life itself. So you take part in the co-creation, the last piece of your question, Gade. I take part in the co-creation process by allowing. We must allow. Because our human ego can get in the way and trip it up so fast it's ridiculous. But when we allow, we are absolutely part of that process. Yeah, I think that's complete. Am I clear? Is there any, do you need clarity or me to say more about anything like that? Any part of that?
Yeah, the reason for the question was because you took part in day-to-day activities in making sure that the desire for your house comes to pass. So my question was born out of the fact that had you stayed away and said, "This is what I want," and then you wait for the outcome and it comes out, would it have been different for you, or would it have been the same with what you actually wanted, and then that joy would you have come?
Ah, okay. Well, I'm sure it would be different. For example, my GC, and I really can't help but like the guy. I'm telling you, sometimes it gets on my last nerve, but I can't help but like the man. I do. I like who he is, and I like his straightforwardness, and he's very good at what he does. However, his opinions and his choices for certain things are not ours. And he would make a suggestion to Neil and Neil and I would go, yeah, no, we don't like that. And he goes, oh, well, you don't like my choices? And we're like, yeah, your job is not to choose our hardware or choose this. Yours is just to implement, right? And so, yeah, if I had said, give me a house, the house would have still been here, and it probably would have been beautiful. He does good work, but it would have not reflected my personal taste, or it wouldn't have had my input or Neil's input. So in that way, it now reflects us. You know, that's a funny aspect of it. Yeah, imagine just building a house and say, okay, build me a house. See, that's why. And so let's take this as spiritual mind treatment for a second, because I know the question is always on the minds of the person, the new student. You know, should I be specific about what I want or not? Should I be specific? Well, if it matters to you, you at least want to participate. I could say, buy me a car. Neil, buy me a car. Who knows what he's going to get me? But if I say, well, I really want an SUV, well, now I've narrowed the parameters. And maybe I'm still not being very specific, but I've narrowed the parameters. So when we have a vision of the desired outcome, Spirit is always just saying yes anyway. Spirit is pouring itself in through and as us. So when you and I have a desired outcome and we have a vision and we make choices, it just narrows Spirit. Spirit's doesn't judge you for wanting something. People think that they can get in the way. Yep, you can get in the way of co-creation process by thinking you're not worthy, or thinking it's not going to work, or it has to be some other way. But if you say, you know, when Bill paints a painting, you know, he's got to make decisions. Otherwise, left to Spirit's devices, who knows what that would look like. So you are part, yes, definitely, of the co-creation process. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for asking that. Are we good? Anybody else have anything? Okay. Have a glorious, I know there's more to come here. Have a glorious Sunday.